You walk into a wild forest. You feel harmless. You are just another creature in nature. But every animal hidden in the trees already disagrees. They see you differently. Most people assume wild animals just ignore us, or that we are simply one predator among many others. But that is not quite right. The real answer is far stranger. The truth reveals a hidden world. It changes everything we think we know about our place on Earth and about ourselves. Let's start with a chilling statistic. In 2015, biologist Chris Darrimont and his colleagues published a groundbreaking study in the journal Science. They spent years analyzing predatory patterns across the globe, comparing human hunters to every other known predator on Earth. What they found redefined our understanding of humanity's role in the ecosystem. Humans, they concluded, are not just another animal. We are a super predator. Darrimont's team discovered that humans kill adult prey, the reproductive core of any population, at rates up to 14 times higher than other predators. Think of that. 14 times more efficient at removing the animals essential for future generations. We also exploit large land carnivores at 9 times the rate these animals kill each other. Our impact is disproportionate and devastating. This relentless pressure fundamentally reshapes the animal world around us, forcing creatures to adapt or vanish. So how do animals actually perceive this overwhelming threat? In 2023, Liana Zanette and Michael Clinchy, researchers from Western University, conducted a fascinating experiment in South Africa's Greater Kruger National Park. They set up hidden speakers near waterholes playing different sounds to wild mammals. Sometimes it was a lion's roar, sometimes the distant sound of gunshots, and sometimes the sound of human voices speaking softly. The results were stark. Mammals were twice as likely to run from human voices than they were from the roaring of lions or even the sound of hunting. 94.7% of the 19 mammal species studied exhibited greater flight responses, or abandoned the waterholes faster when they heard humans speak. This included rhinos, elephants, giraffes, and even leopards. They ran from the sound of our normal conversation as if it were a direct threat. Our mere speech for them signals mortal danger. But if our voices are so terrifying, what about our mere presence? If our voices alone are enough to send animals fleeing, what happens when humans move into their habitats? Caitlin Gaynor, in a 2018 study published in Science, investigated this question on a global scale. Her team analyzed data from camera traps and animal tracking devices across 6 continents, examining the daily activity patterns of mammals in areas with varying levels of human activity. The findings painted a clear picture. Wildlife is quietly shifting its entire schedule around us. Mammals on average became 1.36 times more nocturnal in response to human disturbance. An animal that once split its activity evenly between day and night would now conduct 68% of its life under the cover of darkness. This shift was observed even with non-lethal human activities like hiking or mountain biking. Our very presence, even when we mean no harm, is enough to drive animals into the night, creating a global landscape of fear. But how deeply does this fear run? Do they remember us as individuals? Some animals have evolved an astonishing ability to distinguish between individual humans and to remember specific encounters. John Marsluff, a wildlife biologist at the University of Washington, began a series of famous crow mask experiments in 2006. They quickly discovered that crows not only recognized the specific dangerous mask, but would scold and mob anyone wearing it. This recognition lasted for at least 2.7 years, a remarkable feat of memory. Even more incredibly, the crows taught other crows, including their offspring, to recognize and react to these specific human faces. A new generation of crows would scold a masked researcher, even if they had never personally had a negative encounter. They learned the threat from their elders, passing down generations of fear. But what if the threat isn't just a generic human, but a specific kind of human? African elephants in Amboseli National Park exhibit an even more nuanced understanding of human threat. In 2014, Karen McComb and her colleagues at the University of Sussex published a study in PNAS demonstrating this incredible discrimination. They played recordings of different human voices to elephant herds: Kamba men, and Maasai women and boys. The distinction was critical, as Maasai men have historically posed a greater threat to elephants through hunting. Elephants reacted more defensively to the voices of Maasai men, often bunching together, raising their trunks to sniff the air and moving away more quickly. They were able to distinguish human groups not just by language, but by gender and age within those groups, reacting to the specific patterns of speech and tone that signaled a historical danger. This sophisticated understanding of our threat isn't just wild instinct. It has reshaped animals that live side by side with us. When domesticated animals evolved alongside us, a different kind of adaptation occurred. Dogs, for example, are exceptionally adept at interpreting human communicative cues. They read our pointing gestures and follow our gaze far better than their wild relatives like wolves or even chimpanzees. This ability is deeply ingrained. A 2021 study found that an 8-week-old puppy's capacity to follow a pointing finger is highly heritable, with over 40% of the variation attributed to genetics. We inadvertently selected for animals that could understand our intentions, flipping the coin of fear to one of trust. We have reshaped the world. We have reshaped ourselves in the process. You may walk into the forest believing you are harmless, but you are the most frightening thing in it. Every animal there already knows exactly what you are.